I know we've talked about Carmi and the unanswered questions between the people close to his life, like Richie, Sid, Claire, like question after question. But I did find that something that has been haunting Carmi that he's been trying to get over for some time, and that season finale to have that one-on-one with Joel McHale's character, it was so well done. That's maybe my favorite scene of like the second half of the season, just to have like the fu that Carmi gives to him, but how unbothered Joel McHale is, and how he basically is J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. Like those are two characters that are in the same category. They're in the same genre. They're basically siblings. The push to make someone great, no matter how abusive or oppressive they may be. But I also like that scene because it also, right before it, Carmi can't stop staring at this Joel McHale character, David Fields, who's been haunting him since season one. But there's
Haunting.
also great, yeah, haunting. We'll talk about that because I actually think there's something good that they did with haunting as well. Um, he was having flashbacks to like what Carmi's been doing recently, and then based on the treatment that Joel McHale was having with him, they kind of put it side by side that Carmi is slowly becoming a Joel McHale type of character, right? His mannerisms, what he's saying, the pressure he's putting on his employees. He's like finally reflecting and noticing what he's doing, but like nothing happens as a result of it. I just like that scene, right? Where he basically, you're not going to get any comfort from this guy. Like he's not gonna be like, yeah, I was too hard on you. No, he's a pure asshole. And I think Carmi's realizing I'm being an asshole, and I think that's gonna be what we carry over into the next season. But just feels like, well, we should have had this in the middle of the season. You know what I mean?
That's one of the things where they did well on the show, and particularly the finale. They did a great job with that. The metaphors or the illusion, like Carmi slowly becoming Joel McHale's character, right? I forget his name, but it was
David
the
Fields.
restaurant was the Empire. Okay, thank you. But that combo, that was an awesome scene because you knew Carmi, an introvert, but he had to see. He's been waiting for this moment, like basically for the past few years. And he's been waiting for this moment. But as an introvert, someone that's usually a nice person outside the kitchen, he had to say something. And for Joel McHale's character, just David Fields be like, whatever, I get this all the time. And then said like, yeah, you were like an okay chef when you came in. And like Carmi's like, excuse me, like I'm like the best chef in the world. Like, what are you talking about? And he goes, at first he's like, yeah, like you turned out to be an all right chef. And then like he's like, I'm gonna go pee now. But then Carmi comes back at him and says something. And
You
then
know what you did to me.
finally, yeah, and then David Fields is like, I made you an excellent chef. Similar to your J.K. Simmons Whiplash analogy there. It's like you should be saying thank you to me. And
Yeah.
it's just like insane that Carmi like he realizes it. He's like, crap, like, all right then. I guess it's over. And he goes outside. Olivia Colman then after, another mentor of his. And it's just like, oh, polar opposites there. It was such a well done scene. And for me, like someone where I'm a little bit down. It's if you haven't been able to tell, I'm a little bit down at the end of the season. But that was one where they've been hinting at the Joel McHale realization with Carmi for now since season one, and for us to get that was awesome to see. So that was a good solution that they actually tackled in this season.
An actual face to face. We needed an actual face to face. It almost felt like, because there's times where in the finale for season two, where during that friends and family night that the restaurant has, and it's like it's opening, to have that ghost of Joel McHale that's sitting there and he's keep thinking about him, and then like having that line during this season finale where he says like I think about you all the time, which sounded a little bit creepy when he said it, but then to
Yes.
have Joel McHale saying I don't think about you at all, and Joel McHale, his character too, amazing dialogue, just says like he pronounces his name incorrect on purpose, and Carmi laughs, saying like, I know you freaking know my name. You're still torturing me to this day. You know how much this guy quote unquote haunts him, right? How much he thinks of him, how little that Joel McHale thinks of him, and how much Joel McHale takes the credit for how good Carmi is. And also the acting in that scene, that one tear that comes down from Jeremy Allen White, I'm just like, damn, like he was like pent up. We've been looking for that type of episode. We know we're not going to see it. It's almost like impossible to imagine him crying You know, you've seen him get overly emotional, sad, or angry before, but to actually have that one tear shed down, we're like, yeah, this is why this guy's the real deal right here.
At first, did you think that David Fields, Joel McHale actually wasn't there, similar to season 2?
Yeah, that's where they set it in, where he's sitting like that, he's staring at him, and he's like looking down on him. You know, it did feel like I was saying to myself, is he real?
I thought he was fake at first because it's like all these chefs, along with Will Poulter and Sydney, at Luca and Sydney, at the table, and they're all sharing their war stories and whatnot. Sydney's like having the realization, oh, like it's about the people, and the Olivia Colman speech. It's about the people. I love the bear, the culture there. Maybe Carmi's actually doing me a service, yada yada yada. But then Carmi's just like spacing out, looking at Joel McHale, and I'm thinking like, oh, it's just spacing out, like he's not actually real, and he's just an introvert, and he's obviously going through a lot right now. But then when he was actually there, I was like, holy crap, we're about to get it. Like, buckle up, like lock in here. We're gonna get the one-on-one. I was floored when they said it was actually real.
And Will Poulter as the holding back guy, you know, seeing those guys like reunite, dude. I called it. I knew that was gonna happen. Ricky Flex, Will Poulter. I said there were a couple things I predicted. Well, I said Will Poulter, right, is gonna come back. I said the huge episode is going to be like this quote unquote funeral episode. And then I also said Tina. I said Tina's going to be a key figure here in the second half of the season. You could say all very predictable. And I also said Olivia Colman one-on-one with Jeremy Allen White. That scene low key kind of disappointed me. You know, I don't think there's a lot to really like chew on there. You know, I know it's like you're going to think you're right all the time type of thing, which Carmi does think, but like, basically, I guess the most important thing is that she has to find a way. She needs to like leave being a chef in order to have a life. You know, I guess like you could see like the craziness, the decades that she's been doing it at such a high level, right? What it takes to sacrifice and everything like that. But I wanted a little bit more from that scene.
It's tough because you come after the Joel McHale scene, which has been so like we've been waiting for that since season 1, basically. So I don't know. For me, I think that was a big part of it. But I agree with you. I wanted some more, like, less of a brush off. Actually give some good advice. Just saying you're invincible and you think you're right all the time, like, God damn it. If this guy's trying to get a Michelin star, he's there for a reason. He probably thinks he is right all the time. He's probably a freaking, like, you know what I mean? Like, how he's been acting. You know, it's just how he always is. And it's how he's always going to be. Not necessarily, like, his leadership style, but, like, his dish, he's going to say what's best with it.
There's a lot of great like interactions in that episode, and something where it also goes with like kind of unanswered, like Sid when she was invited to this funeral, I thought immediately, okay, this is where we're gonna have this moment. She's either gonna find out because of the conversation she has with these chefs, she wants to work with Carmi or doesn't want to work with Carmi, and she's having flashbacks. She's so conflicted by the story she's hearing, and you know the chef that is trying to poach her is going to be there, and he is cooking, right? He is literally cooking and being he's a CDC for all these people tonight. Like he is cooking for everybody, not CDC, but you know, whatever, head chef. They have the one-on-one in the wine cellar or whatever, that wine room, and we don't get a decision. And then we just get to a point where Sydney at the end is having an anxiety attack. She's so torn, but no decisions actually made. This is yet another to be continued where this should have been wrapped up this season, right? Give us something to hang our hat on, right? And have from one season to the next. Like with that, to me, it's like we didn't make decisions with Carmi, and then Sid is still like this person that's unsatisfied with her working conditions and hasn't done shit about it, you know?
Odd choice, incredibly odd choice. And I'm not saying odd choice not to say a decision in the wine room, not to have a decision just on what happens before the season end.
Yeah, just that's what I mean. Yeah,
that's just absurd to me. I thought for sure, okay, that'd be kind of weird if she like said yes to him or no to him in the wine room. But okay, if it happens, I always forget it, right? Right when she said she wasn't sure, I immediately thought, oh, Carmi's going to see her walk out of the wine room with that guy.
Yeah.
And then no matter what, a decision is going to have to be made or mistrust. So I think just overall, you had to do something. You did nothing. You didn't do the bare minimum. And I think that's another problem with this season of The Bear.
Yeah. That sucked. That was also, there were so many things that you wanted to know, right? What's the review say? What's Sydney's decision? What's Carmi's conversation with Claire going to be? None of it happened. None of it.
Richie.
You know? Richie. Yeah. Richie. Good for Richie. By the way, I love seeing him back with the staff of Ever. And to get the shout out by Chef Terry during her Hall of Fame speech and her blow him a kiss. Wow, Richie, you might say it's ludicrous that everyone remembers him and that he's even invited to this goddamn thing, you know, and to see him back with like the front of the house at Ever, him with that connection with
Jess.
I forgot her name. You know her name? Jess, to have that connection, you see him at the party afterwards. Like, he's a lonely guy, but not for long, you know. But just to see him being embraced on his way back there, it just tells you a lot about the character of Richie, what the type of lasting impact he has on them, and what that restaurant meant to him in only 4 days, and what he meant to that staff. I thought that was really well done. That was nice that he stayed with them too.
And again, more storylines not being finished. Richie, his whole storyline this season is about being lonely, and we don't get a Jess shown up here. She was shortly on a phone call with him once earlier in the season. I think I feel like it was 3, but we don't get her to the last episode here, and then nothing happens. So Richie's still lonely. Also, just to pivot for a hot second, Marcus lost his mother. Been working on this dish. We don't get the dish. We don't get the dish. We don't get a conclusion to that. It's kind of crazy just how many missteps there were in this season. And I think you are right. It has to be because of the script. They probably thought, season 4 would come out in September. So it'd be like it would seem like one season. Yeah. So I understand if it was that, but still, like, it's TV. It's not a movie. You have to look at it that way. And I think that's just a huge overstep. And again, it's more like, we're the bear. People are going to stay with us, our audience. It's like, buddy, like, come on now. There's so many different streaming options. You can't just be like taking us for granted.
I agree. And I also wanted to say, once again, Garrett was great in Forks. Him saying, "That's my boy," like screaming it and slamming the table. And Richie came in. I'm like, damn, I missed season 2. I missed season 2 so bad. We had it all, dude. We had it all. Generational run of episodes there.